I had enough. You just said, now look, don't say, don't look. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you. I'm trying to be saved up in here, but don't. You know, I'm quoting scriptures. I'm talking in tongues in my head. I'm trying to remember something that Bishop preached 3 weeks ago. But tell your neighbor, there is another guy in here now. He's not a deacon or an elder. She's not a mother or a missionary. That don't make me pull these earrings off and go. There was a disagreement. There was a disagreement that rose up against them that was so strong that they separated from each other. This is painful. They separated from each other. And when they separated from each other, Barnabas took Mark with him. He said, you don't want to take him? I'll take him. And he took Mark with him, and they sailed away to Cyprus. They must have fell off the boat or something, because you don't hear much about nothing mighty happening in Cyprus or anywhere else about Barnabas and John Mark, because John Mark was not fit for the fight. But Paul chose Silas. Paul chose Silas and departed, having been commended by the brothers to the grace of the Lord. He left with Silas. You remember Silas. Silas later would be locked in jail. Lord help Paul if he would have gone to jail with John Mark. You remember the text. This text I'm going to now. And at midnight, Paul and Silas prayed and gave thanks unto God. And suddenly there was a sound and a shaking down from heaven. If Paul would have went to jail with John Mark, they'd have killed him, because John Mark wasn't fit for the fight. But when he got in a fight with Silas, Silas said, if you sing, I'll pray. We're going to get out of this, brother. Oh, my God. Just when people say, walk with me, walk with me, walk with me. We're in a fight now. We're in a fight. We're in a fight. Walk with me, walk with me, walk. I gotta have somebody that is fit for the fight. Now understand, Michael, this is the only requirement. He didn't have to know karate or jiu-jitsu. He didn't even have to be able to box. He had to be able to stand. That was the only requirement. Having done all to stand. Stand in the middle of controversy. Stand in the middle of the storm. Stand in the middle of loneliness. Stand in the middle of an attack. Oh my God! I don't care whether you can fight. I care that you can stand. Because you have to put on the whole armor of God just to be able to stand. Ephesians will tell us that you put on the whole armor of God, and you don't even have to use your sword. You need all of that to just stand. When the rubber met the road, Silas would stand. He was relentless. He was tenacious. In the battle, he did not lose his focus. He was locked in and committed. Committed, and controversy is not easy.
Low battery.
And disappointment is not easy. Committed without recognition is not easy. Committed without appreciation is not easy. Don't be too hard on John Mark, because you have to have the whole armor on. You can't leave out not one piece to stand what life is going to throw on you. You think you've seen something. You ain't seen the half. You don't know what prisons. You don't know what dungeons. You don't know what stones will be thrown at you. You don't know what sicknesses, what issues, what traumas, what afflictions will come unto you. To pick somebody who will stand when it hurts. Stand when you're confused. Stand when you're uncertain.
Low battery.
Fit for the fight. Look at somebody and say, are you ready for this? There will be times that try your heart so severely that everything in you wants to quit. Everything in you wants to collapse. Everything in you wants to go down. Everything in you wants to go crazy. Paul is dealing with such trauma that he cannot afford to have somebody who vacillates. Right. John Mark quit, walked away, ran on back. Peter vacillated to the point that Paul was furious. I want you to read this. Just a minute. Just give me a minute. It won't be long. Galatians 2:11-14. But when Cephas, Peter, came to Antioch, I opposed him to his face because he stood self-condemned.
Low battery.
For until certain people came from James, he used to eat with the Gentiles. But after they came, he drew back for fear of the circumcision fight. Have you ever seen people who would be with you until the wrong person came along? That's the worst kind of angry to me. If you don't like me, I'm cool with that. Just be consistent. If you're going to be a hater every day. I don't mind you hating me, because once I understand you, I know how to deal with you. The thing that drives me crazy is the person that keeps going backwards and forward. Would the real you please stand up?
You know trading because you have this need, a burning desire to know more. And that
Bible says the other Jews joined him in the hypocrisy, so that even Barnabas was led astray by their hypocrisy. But when I saw that they were not acting consistently, you got to be consistent. If you're going to be my friend, you got to be my friend every day. If you're going to love me, you got to love me every day. If you got my back, have my back every day. Don't have it on Monday and drop it on Tuesday and got it on Thursday, don't have it on Friday. I don't know whether to bring a coat or not. You got to be consistent. You got to be consistent. You got to be consistent with the truth of the gospel. And so I told Peter before them all, in front of everybody, what I like about Paul, he wasn't two-faced, he wasn't double-tongued. In front of all of them, it is what it is. If you, though a Jew, live like a Gentile and not a Jew, how can you compel the Gentile to live like Jew? He said, you aren't any better than the people you turn your nose up at. It's just they don't know your business. I wonder if your statements against your brother would have been as hard if your brother saw you a year and a half ago. You know, that weekend. So Paul gets in their business because he is trying to find somebody who will stand, somebody who will fight, somebody who will survive, somebody who will endure. Paul will go through storms immeasurable. He will come up under attack like you have never seen. He He will be shipwrecked. He will be snake bitten. He will be stoned at Lystra. He will face all kinds of agonies. He cannot afford to travel with someone who is not fit for the fight. And the problem between Paul and Barnabas is that Barnabas is trying to get him to take somebody with him because Barnabas has a forgiving heart. And he says, don't hold it against him. And Paul, it is not that Paul doesn't forgive him. Paul knows he's not ready. He's not fit for the fight. My wife and I laugh because she does all the cooking and I do all the baking. And she says she can put something in the oven and whisper and everybody be tippy-toeing around and everything. The cake still fall. And then when I bake a cake and they be standing up over top of the toothpaste, she look at me and roll her eyes. And I keep telling her, there's nothing wrong with your cake, honey. It's not the noise in the room that matters. You can't take it out too soon. Because if it can look ready, it can stand up, it can smell ready. But if you pull it out too soon, when you pull it out, it'll just collapse on you. Just because it looks ready on the outside doesn't mean that it's done on the inside. That's what was wrong with John Mark. He looked good on the outside, but on the inside, he wasn't fit for the fight. And so he has drifted away. I asked the Lord, why did you give me this message? I've been looking at this message for about a month. And today was the day I was to preach it. Watch this. On a day when the weather is bad, and the roads are icy, and let's be honest, wasn't this a good morning to stay in the bed? I mean, if we could just be real, when you looked outside and you saw all of that, wouldn't it have been a good day just to roll over and say, forget it? And yet something drove you through the storm and the rain and the wind. Somebody holler, I'm ready! Good God Almighty. You see, yeah, praise him. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Somebody put your hands together and give God a praise. Somebody give God a praise. Somebody give God a praise. Touch your neighbor and say, I'm going to press my way. When it gets tough, I'm going to press my way. When I get tired, I'm going to press my way. When it's not convenient, I'm going to press my way. When my heart is broken, I'm going to press my way. When I'm rejected, I'm going to press my way. When I'm broke, I'm going to press my way. When I'm disturbed, oh yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Tell your neighbor, press on, press on, press on, press on, press on, press on, press on. Though the storms keep on raging, press on. Though the battle is fierce, press on, my sister, press on. Hallelujah. For he that putteth his hand to the plow and looks back is not fit for the kingdom of God. Let me sit down. I didn't mean to get you excited, but I believe he wanted me to, because you don't have to backslide to quit the way we think of backsliding. It may not be the alluring temptation of lust and degradation that makes you drop your hands. It can be to just get tired. Just get tired. You ever got tired? Just get tired and quit. You know, I found out something about tired. It's funny. Tired will always reign if it goes unchallenged.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes you have to challenge tired. I'm not saying you ought not go to bed and normal stuff, things got sense. I'm not talking about the tired that sleep will fix. I'm talking about being weary and well-doing. I'm talking about how you can show up and still be missing. I'm talking about how you can be there and not be present. And people don't know that in your heart, like John Mark, you're gone. And when you go away, other people get what should have been yours. They step in and they receive what by all rights should have been yours. And then what you have to do, this is what you have to do. Either you lie to yourself and get bitter and blame everybody for your own weaknesses, or you strengthen yourself. The reason I said tired reigns when it goes unchallenged is because when I started working out, the first sign of not being fit is how tired you get. But if you keep working out, the point that used to wear you out, you'll push right past it. It doesn't even bother you anymore. The more you get in shape, the more you can run, and you won't even get winded where you used to get winded because you're getting fit. You can tell you're fit by your speed of exhaustion. The more you are able to endure, the more you are fit for the fight. Fast forward, Paul is now an old man. He's in a jail cell and he's writing to Timothy. He's in the final hours of his life. He's matured and he's seasoned. He's coming to the end. He says to Timothy, he says, Alexander the coppersmith has done me much evil. May the Lord reward him for what he has done. He said, Timothy, I fought a good fight. I fought all the way down to the end. I finished my course. Now laid up for me is a crown of righteousness. He says, Timothy, when you come, bring me my coat. I'm cold in this jail. And bring me some paper because I got to keep writing. I'm down to the last drops. Then almost at the end of the chapter, he says, Timothy, when you come, bring John Mark. He says, because John Mark is profitable unto me for the ministry. My takeaway point is this. Don't ever throw anybody completely away. Just because they're not fit now mean? Shando Koyadaba. That they won't be fit later. Paul is now seasoned and he's aged and he's matured. He was strong enough to say no when no needed to be said, but he was not malicious. He didn't become hateful. He wasn't vindictive. He said, go get John Mark. John, you sure did let me down. But you've grown since then. You ran away from stuff, left me in a mess. But you've grown since then. You didn't keep your word and you didn't manage your responsibilities and you caused me trouble that I would have never had to go through. But you've grown since then. You have gone from unprofitable, having nothing left, to being profitable, being strong enough to have reserve. You are profitable unto me for ministry. P.S. Most scholars believe that the Gospel of St. Mark was written by John Mark. Isn't it amazing that somebody who could make such a mess could make such a turnaround? And write the Gospel of St. Mark. The Lord told me to tell you, you did blow it. You did disappoint me. Really let me down. But I have not forgotten you. And he said to me this morning, go get John Mark. Tell Shando Bohoya. Tell John Mark that though he was weak in the middle, tell John Mark, you're going to finish strong. Stand to your feet. I want to ask you a question this morning. There may be somebody in this room. In fact, there he is. Somebody in this room. When testing time came, you didn't have what it took. When it was really important, you weren't fit for the fight. But the Lord said to T.D. Jakes,
I work round the clock. I want my blood sugar to stay in control, so I asked about Tresiba.
Tresiba is a once-daily, long-acting insulin that lasts even longer than 20